I'm so lucky that I'm happy in my job, but that's come from right at the beginning. I'm Sheetal Vyas. I currently work for a foundation that is trying to solve really important problems in the world using innovation and using technology. And those problems are primarily in sub-Saharan Africa and South Asia, and cover a range of areas from health, education, nutrition, through to things that are slightly more abstract like identity. So yeah, that's what I do. So what I'm currently trying to do is help identify new ways in which we can solve these problems. So looking at how trends and emerging technologies are evolving right now at a pace that we've never really seen before, looking to see how those things can be applied in the context of global problems. So globals in these, much poorer countries where actually the solution isn't necessarily going to be the same as what we found in the UK or in Europe or in the US. And so what I'm trying to do is see how we can apply innovation, emerging technologies, find solutions to problems that exist for many, many people in the world. I worked in a practice where we helped, kind of like a consulting practice. So that means I helped companies, clients, governments, organizations solve some of these problems around whether it was health or education. So, one of the programs I worked on was a program to make sure that children had lunchtime meals, because many of the children didn't have enough food at home. So at least if they were fed a midday meal, the program was called, they would be able to go home and at least have one secure meal in the day. Other projects I worked on when I was in India, one was a project that was all about helping deliver health services in the most far remotest parts of the country. So they developed these mobile medical units that could drive into the kind of mountainous areas and help people. They'd have doctors on them, they'd have all the equipment that they needed, and they were able to provide health services to those people that just had never really been able to access them. So I did that. And then in about 2011, I came back to the UK. My first daughter was born in India. We came back to the UK and I've worked in this area pretty much ever since. However, the one thing that always was kind of an interest to me was how technology could be used to solve some of these problems, because many of these problems people have been trying to work out ways of solving, but it's difficult, So how is it that access to the internet, or how is it that access to new ways of sharing material or information, how could that help solve these problems? And so that's what I do now. Rather than looking at it in a really generic way, I want to do good, or I want to work for a charity, which is what I did at the beginning of my career. What I would say is think about, what is it that you're good at? What is the skill? What is the thing that you could bring to actually have an impact and make that charity or make that organization, whether it's a social enterprise or even a business, because I think businesses do good as well. What is the skill that you can bring that makes you know something and make a difference and add an area of expertise that others don't? I think for the people that are listening to this, you might not know what it is that what your big skill is, but you probably have some thoughts about what it is that you like doing, as opposed to what it is you don't like doing, and what it is that you're better at compared to other things that you're not better at. And that could be things like subjects in school, like it was for me, or it could be things like, I'm really good at communicating with my friends. I'm really good at talking. I love it when I've got lots of people around me and I'm telling a story and I feel really positive from doing that. I would really encourage you to think about what that might be. And it's not going to come immediately. And it could be that you ask your friends or you ask your family around you. You know, what is it that you think I'm good at? What is it that you like about me? What are these features, these traits, these things about you? Because you're all unique and you're all special and you all do amazing things. It's just kind of just honing in on what is it that is special to you. That's exactly what I, when I was thinking about this before the interview, like the thing that has sustained me in over 20 years of working, the thing that has kept me going is that I have an interest in what I do. And I have lots of people around me who have no interest in what they do, and they do it because, they fell into it or it happened, and they're not necessarily happy in their jobs. And I'm so lucky that I'm happy in my job, but that's come from right at the beginning, where I followed a path where it was something that I cared about and that I was interested in, and the skill then was the route that I took for my specific path. And I think that's really important. If there's a kernel of A, something that you're good at, and B, something that you're interested in, then that can help shape and actually guide many of the decisions that you make in your career over time. I mean, that absolutely happened to me. I knew within probably a few weeks of being a trainee accountant that I was not that interested in it. It was about getting a minimum qualification, something I knew that I would be better off in my career as a worst case scenario, having trained as an accountant, having that up my sleeve, so that if all else fails and I can't get a job anywhere, at least I can do this and earn some money. Because that was a priority. I had no money. I had no family that was going to support me. I needed a job. I had no liberty to volunteer for things and not get paid. But I needed the money. If you thought about doing something and when you're in it, you realize it's not quite right for you. If there's a thing to complete, or if you can really think about what can I extract from this so that I can get at least some learning from it or something from it, then that actually is really useful. When I was really early on in my career, and with people I don't know, I'm really shy, and I still am actually, I would say. I would go to meetings and not say a word, and I'd walk out of those meetings, and and it wasn't because I didn't have ideas. I had ideas all the time. They would come into my head all the time, but I just was too nervous to say them out loud. What if I stuttered? What if I said them incorrectly? What if I was saying something really stupid? And I realized that no one else in the room was saying ideas that are that much better than mine. My ideas are quite good. So if I can just say one of those ideas in a meeting, then at least I've said something. And I did that. I started to do that. Just say one thing, and it gave me so much confidence. And I didn't need to be the center of attention. I just had to say something. And often it's just breaking that hurdle, that initial hurdle of just being heard, your voice being heard. Or even you can take this to interviews. Just doing one interview. You can fail your interviews. I failed so many of my interviews that I applied for when I left university. And I failed the ones for small companies that I didn't even want. But when it got to the time when I got the big company, the one that I really did want, actually, I got accepted.